month of September. If you could all join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, is there a motion to approve the agenda as presented? I have no additions or corrections.
So moved.
Support.
Are there any questions or discussion regarding the agenda? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion passes. Moving on to the approval of the consent agenda. The consent agenda includes our board minutes from our last meeting, the payment of the invoices, the second reading of and adoption of Neola policies, policy 2264 and policy 2266. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented?
So moved.
Support.
Are there any questions or discussion regarding the consent agenda? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion passes. Moving on to highlights. Superintendent's 2024-2025 evaluation goals.
Mind turning on the two screens for me?
Oh, boy.
Oh, yeah. I was like, that looks different.
Yeah.
This is very testing.
Oh,
me.
boy. Yes.
Maybe
nice.
source.
Sounds like it's firing up.
Thank you.
Thanks for reminding me. Too dark, or is that okay? Okay, so tonight I am presenting the goals that I have drafted. And while they say goals for the superintendent, really they are related to goals for the district with work with the board, the administration team, and the rest of our stakeholders. So this lists the area of focus, and I know you guys had this ahead of time. So the ones highlighted in yellow are the additions to the ones that I focused on last year. So each year, since I was new to being the superintendent last year, we started with 10, added another 10 with input from Chelsea on which ones. So you'll see how these tie in as I go through my goals. So I based all of my goals this year on our new strategic plan. So last year one of the goals was really to develop the strategic plan with the board and with stakeholders. This year, it's starting to implement the strategic plan. And since everything in the district should tie back to our strategic plan, I've crafted my goals to be to focus on that strategic plan work. So the first goal, in keeping with the first goal of the strategic plan, which is focusing on teaching, learning, and programming, which touches in on the domains in the superintendent evaluation of leadership processes, systems, and capacity. So I will work with the EPS leadership team and the Board of Education to recruit, hire, and retain dedicated staff, while also evaluating and expanding curricular and non-curricular opportunities that creates a learning environment which leads to increased student proficiency. So how are we going to achieve this? These are just a few of the items that I was highlighting, but working on implementing the strategic plan specifically through the Teaching, Learning, and Programming Committee. So in my last weekly update to the board, I sent you a Google Doc as well too for you to pick which committee or committees that you really want to focus on through the lens of the board. And then we've done the same with our district leadership team as well too. And that will be the foundation of those committees. And then depending on what goals are set for the year in those committees, then we'll bring in additional stakeholders that would focus on each of those goals that are developed. Also, as part of this goal, reviewing and updating the process for evaluating and expanding learning offerings both during and outside of the school day. Working with the EPS leadership team to update the board and the community on student proficiency, which I know was a focus that the board wanted the leadership team and myself to have this year. Working with the assistant superintendent, teacher leaders, and board to move through our next curriculum review. We're going to start looking at social studies as well as the sex ed curriculum. Working with EPS leadership team and school teams to hold the annual district improvement meeting with all of the stakeholders that we have in our policy. Work with the EPS leadership team and the EEA to develop our mentorship program. So we're working on finding those teacher leaders who want to be part of that to develop really what the mentorship program will be. So right now we have some basic requirements to start with, but we really want to focus on growing that into a very strong mentorship program. Working with the EPS leadership team, board, and staff groups, such as the union, on reviewing and updating, if needed, staff recognition opportunities. So again, on that recruitment and retaining of quality staff, we want to acknowledge everything that all of our staff members are doing. Regular meetings with the union and the district, CMC, so that's Contract Maintenance Committee. So what Sean, Jesse, and I are planning to do is hold at least a quarterly meeting between our district, what was the negotiating team, now will become contract maintenance, and then the union team as well too. That's not just to discuss any issues, but it's also to look at what's really working and going well so that we know when we enter into negotiations the next time, we have a good idea of what's really good about the contract and what might be some areas we need to develop. And then working with the leadership team and our HR assistant to formalize and update our hiring processes. So this has been ongoing, but we really want to have that solidified so that every building, every department is following the same process in terms of HR. So ways that this will be measured, and there'll be more than just this, but things like the notes from the Teaching, Learning, and Programming Strategic Plan Committee, the mentor program itself, student proficiency updates and board reports, notes from the curricular meetings, board reports, notes from the subcommittee, staffing updates, meeting agendas, and board approval of district improvement plan, notes and updates to the board from the CMC meetings, and the updated process for hiring. And then those are the indicators that all of those things touch on. So the next goal, just like the strategic plan, will be on focusing on community and communication. So I will work with the district to continue to increase communication and build relationships with both internal and external stakeholders and the board, and find meaningful ways to gather and use stakeholder input. So we're going to achieve this by, again, implementing the strategic plan, specifically through the Communications and Community Committee, working with the leadership team and the board to create advisory groups to gather, discuss, and share information with multiple stakeholder groups. So that's where I will need input and support from the board on, do those look like coffee chats out in the community? Or, where are we going to go to really get that meaningful community input? Working with the leadership team and the board to create a more formalized communication plan so that families in the community know where to go to get their information and have it be simple and easy to use, so that people aren't going to 5 million different spots to gather what they need to have if they have multiple children or grandchildren in the district. Working with our technology department to increase information on our website and provide notifications via text. That is one thing that we heard from a lot of families through the strategic planning process, is they would like, a lot of our families operate more on a texting type of way. So they would like to have that as an option as well. Working with the leadership team and staff to offer learning opportunities for families and community members on school and student-related topics. We're offering our first parent university on October 14th and talking about Alice, which is one of our new ways that we're implementing drills through our safety team. So that's going to be one of those first opportunities for that. Working with the leadership team, board, and stakeholder groups on rebranding the district. Again, having that uniformed way of communicating who we are and what our values are. Working with the board to refine board routines and enhance working relationships. Working with the board and the board policy subcommittee to create a process for continual policy review. And I know we're going to start that at our next board workshop as well. Oops. So again, a few ways that will be measured by dates and notes from advisory meetings with stakeholders, a communications plan, parent universities, possibly an updated brand book, Board of Ed procedure for policy reviews, and sample of communication with different stakeholder groups. So yes.
I don't know what a brand book is.
So a brand book used to actually mean a physical book that had what are the fonts you're going to use in the district, what are the logos that are appropriate and when are they used and why, what are literally your colors, like specifically that are used so it's uniform across the district. Nowadays, a lot of that is more like a Google Drive of brand information, and that dates me a little bit that I call it a brand book, but that's what that is.
Thank you.
A good question. So the last goal, again, very similar to the strategic plan, that facilities and funding piece. So I will be working with the board and the district leadership team to oversee the utilization of district funds, which is exciting because now we do have bond funds that we get to work with, grant, general fund, and all of our other funding sources to improve district facilities while maintaining the district's overall financial standing. So very different spot than we were last year at this time. Thankful to the community that we get to have those extra funds to work with. So we're going to achieve this by, again, implementing the strategic plan, specifically through the Facilities and Funding Committee, regular meetings with the Board Finance and Building and Grounds Subcommittee, regular district safety team meetings, communication with community about what we are doing with the bond and safety projects and updates. That is one thing that we heard loud and clear when going to the community for this bond is they really wanted to see where their money was going and how it was being used. So we want to make sure to show them. Working with the CFO and the business office to update our process for communicating with the board on district budget, being able to provide the board with more meaningful ways to communicate on where we are at different points in times with our budget. Completion of the safety assessment by SEC, which is coming up here in October. And then off of that, our plan for addressing any deficiencies that comes out of that outside review. And then working with district leadership team to create a facilities and grounds review process, much like we do for our curriculum review, and similar to what we have for our master roof plan. So we can see where our buildings' needs are and when they're going to be coming up that we need to address those. So again, measured by agendas, notes, emails regarding facility improvement and safety, drill schedules and safety training dates, regular meetings with the board, finance, and building and grounds subcommittee, communication with the community about projects, regular updates to the board on the district budget, completion of the safety assessment by the outside agency SEC, and modifying the district plan for addressing any deficiencies, and creating a facilities and grounds review process. So any questions on the goals as I present them? They're very closely tied to the strategic plan because I feel that's really where all of our energy needs to be focused now that we have one with all of that community input that we gathered.
Looks good.
Okay.
I really like that you tied it together with a strategic plan because then you get guarantees that at least twice a year when we're doing your review, we're also looking at where we stand with that. And I think it really kind of aligns all the goals. So I like that.
Thank you. Very thorough. Thank you very much. Moving on to the Board of Education.
I guess I should have just stayed up
recognition.
there. But I am going to make a couple people join me. So if I could have Becky and Natalie and Chelsea, please come up here. So on behalf of the Michigan Association for School Boards, all three of you have won, or not won, you have earned.
Whoa.
You won this pin. You are being awarded the Award of Merit, which means that you have completed at least 45 hours of professional development, which is a testament to all of you for taking not only the time to be here for board meetings, subcommittee meetings, all the work you do in the community, but then also continue to enhance your knowledge in everything related to the board. So, Natalie, here is yours. So congratulations. And Chelsea, congratulations. Yep. And just so everyone knows, Chelsea has completed far more than the 45 hours as well. So I'm surprised they don't have another level of award for that. And then Becky, thank you very much for all of your hard work and service.
for the update. The goals. Thank you for the goals. I think we just
Moving on to items of business, and I don't see that we have any.
It was an odd month.
Moving on to the report, superintendent's report.
So it was a quick month, I should say, with being back to school. And since August was filled with our agenda of hiring all of our new wonderful Eddie teachers, and they have been knocking it out of the park. Even, we had 2 of our high school brand new teachers did the dynamic duo spirit day today. So look on Facebook for that because you'll get to see a picture of them. So they're embracing everything Eddie's. This week is, one of our favorite weeks of the year with homecoming. We have an amazing new tradition we're going to be starting on Friday, along with our former traditions as well too. But we had a staff member bring to the administrative team the idea of doing a kindergarten and senior walk, kind of a handing off of the torch. And thanks to Ryan Markle, Tracy Spalding, and the transportation department, we have been able to pull this off on a very short timeline. So the fact we're able to get the transportation department to bus Eagle Lake twice on Friday out here to participate on that. We're really looking forward to that in the morning. So we've invited parents of seniors and kindergartners. Of course, all board members are invited to attend as well. And it will be up on the football field at 9:30. We, of course, then have our parade at 1:30 and then the game at 7 that night. So really exciting week. We also had, it was an exciting start to the school year with the fire at Eagle Lake. But I do have to say that it could not have gone better if you're going to have a fire. Not often are you able to practice your safety plan in a very authentic and meaningful way. And we were able to practice reunification through that. And everybody jumped in. Mr. Melander at Eagle Lake, you would have thought he had been in that position for years, handled it beautifully. And then the high school right away, including food service, jumped in to be able to feed all of our little Eddies up there. And I know my daughter was very excited to be served pizza and French fries. So it was like the best lunch she said she'd had. So just in transportation too, the fact we were able to get drivers out there so quickly was fantastic. And then as a safety team, we were able to use that opportunity to debrief at our first safety team meeting. And of course, even when things go very well, there's always room for improvement. So we were able to go through minor improvements, including Mr. Melander saying, I think in our go bags, we need to have some Old Maid and Uno to keep some of our students busy.
Yeah.
So again, not what you want to have in your start to school, but it went as well as it possibly could. Thanks to everybody working together and following our safety plan. We also, I mentioned Parent University. So we're going to, staying on the topic of safety, we're going to have our first Parent University actually right before our board workshop. So I'll send out some more information on that. We were looking to see about an approximate number of parents to determine where we're going to hold it. So I have one more sign up going out to parents. They don't have to sign up, but it'll give us a general idea. Our safety team is going to talk about the ALICE procedure. All of our staff were trained in ALICE before school started, but we have not started using it in any of our drills with students because we wanted to have a chance for parents to come and learn about it and ask any questions first before we did that. So that is starting. Strategic plan, I also mentioned a little bit about. I sent out that sign-up sheet to all of you guys to pick, kind of your true kind of area of passion that you want to commit to for that. And our administrative team did the same. We also have Count Day coming up next week. So we're hoping that all of our Eddies are healthy and in school on October 2nd, so that we'll have a firm count that will then help us really solidify our budget moving forward. Also, big shout out to everybody for the Fall Festival and Art Fair. It was a very hot day, started as a very foggy day, but a number of our administrators helped out in our tent. Not only did we have our district tent, we had robotics represented, equestrian team, athletic boosters, band boosters, and then a number of our own staff members were artisan vendors as well too. So it was really great to see. I know I ran into Becky out there shopping around, and Natalie, I think we saw you two stop by as well. So that was a really good but hot day. And then just kind kind of to finish up is just looking forward to everything with homecoming this week. And there are a lot of athletic events and all sorts of different student events going on for Spirit Week. Every building has a little bit different take on Spirit Week. If you pop up here to the admin building, we're partaking in some as well too. If you notice any odd socks or crazy hats or anything like that. But that is all I have today.
Fun. Moving on to the subcommittee reports. Have any of the subcommittees met since we were last together? I didn't think so. Moving on to comments from the audience. Seeing none, is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Support.
All in favor of adjourning, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you very much for joining us this evening.
Aye.
So October 14th, us